Program data confirms Monday's Starship Flight 11 will validate in-flight Raptor Relight capability, a critical milestone that determines whether version 3 can attempt orbital recovery. This single test could unlock the operational threshold SpaceX needs for rapid reusability, and the timeline implications are significant. Critical development. Program data confirms Starship Flight 11 launches Monday at 6:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time as the final version 2 test vehicle, and the single metric that makes this launch decisive is the in-flight Raptor Relight validation. This capability represents the operational threshold SpaceX requires before transitioning to version 3's orbital recovery missions. Reports reveal this marks the definitive hardware transition point in SpaceX's systematic development approach. Internal documents indicate version 3 debuts in what Elon Musk termed few to several months, a timeline that positions orbital recovery attempts for mid-2025. The strategic significance becomes clear when you analyze the progression. Version 2 validates Relight capability. Version 3 implements orbital recovery. The mission profile data reveals unprecedented operational complexity. Flight 11's trajectory extends over 1 hour to Indian Ocean splashdown. That's triple the duration of typical Starship test flights. This extended validation window allows comprehensive testing of critical systems under operational conditions. Industry sources indicate this duration mirrors the operational requirements for actual Starship missions to lunar orbit. Here's where the analysis gets critical. Internal mission parameters confirm intentional heat shield tile removal during dynamic banking maneuvers. This isn't equipment failure, it's systematic stress testing. The data shows SpaceX is deliberately subjecting the thermal protection system to extreme conditions that exceed normal operational parameters. For context, this mirrors space shuttle development protocols from the 1970s, where NASA intentionally stressed heat shield systems to validate operational margins. The decisive factor becomes apparent when you examine the Relight sequence timing. According to program documentation, the Raptor engines must demonstrate ignition capability after extended coast phases, exactly the operational requirement for orbital missions. This single test validates whether version 3 can execute the engine burns required for controlled atmospheric re-entry and recovery. Program analysis shows Flight 11's success metrics are binary. Either the Relight capability is validated, enabling version 3's orbital recovery timeline, or systematic issues are identified that require additional version 2 testing. The strategic implications are significant. NASA's Artemis program timeline depends on Starship's operational readiness, and this test determines whether SpaceX maintains its aggressive development schedule. Industry analysts note the extended flight duration serves a dual purpose, validating long-duration systems operation while providing maximum data collection during the critical Relight phase. This represents SpaceX's systematic approach to operational capability building. Each test validates specific thresholds required for the next development phase. The data reveals SpaceX's systematic approach to operational capability building through their version 2 to version 3 transition, a strategic methodology that mirrors NASA's own Apollo development protocols from 1968 to 1969. Internal analysis shows this isn't random testing, it's a documented progression where each hardware iteration validates specific operational thresholds required for the next development phase. Here's the critical factor. SpaceX's few to several months development cadence between major Starship versions represents an unprecedented acceleration compared to traditional aerospace programs. For context, Apollo's command module underwent 11 unmanned test flights over 24 months before crew missions. SpaceX is compressing similar validation cycles into quarterly iterations. The strategic implications are significant. This timeline compression could deliver operational capability years ahead of traditional development models. Reports confirm the intentional heat shield tile removal during Flight 11's dynamic banking maneuvers directly parallels space shuttle development protocols from the 1970s. NASA's own shuttle program conducted similar deliberate stress testing to validate thermal protection systems under extreme catastrophic conditions. Industry sources indicate SpaceX is applying this proven methodology, but with accelerated iteration cycles. Where Shuttle took years between major tests, Starship completes validation in months. The smoking gun metric emerges from comparative analysis. Raptor Relight capability positions Starship operationally ahead of Saturn V's single-use model. Saturn V's F1 engines produced 1.5 million pounds of thrust, but required complete hardware replacement after each mission. Starship's 33 Raptor engines generate equivalent thrust while maintaining relight capability, a decisive operational advantage that could reduce mission costs by an order of magnitude. Program data confirms SpaceX's systematic testing approach validates each subsystem independently before integration. Flight 11's extended duration serves dual purposes: long-duration systems validation while maximizing data collection during the critical relight phase. This methodology ensures version 3's orbital recovery attempt won't depend on untested capabilities. Timeline analysis reveals the strategic significance. If Flight 11 validates relight capability as projected, version 3 could attempt orbital recovery within 6 months. That timeline would position SpaceX's operational reusability ahead of NASA's Artemis program requirements, creating competitive pressure across the entire lunar mission architecture. Industry analysts note this systematic approach reduces program risk while maintaining aggressive timelines. Each version 2 test eliminates specific technical uncertainties for version 3, ensuring the orbital recovery attempt builds on validated hardware rather than theoretical capabilities. The data shows this is exactly how Apollo achieved lunar landing capability: systematic validation of each operational threshold before mission-critical deployment. The strategic implications of Flight 11's validation results extend far beyond SpaceX's internal development timeline. They represent a decisive factor in the entire commercial space ecosystem. Industry analysts note that successful Raptor Relight validation on Monday directly determines version 3's orbital recovery timeline, with program data suggesting a 6-month window for first orbital attempt if Flight 11 meets all test objectives. This timeline pressure is particularly significant for NASA's Artemis program architecture. Internal NASA reviews confirm Starship serves as the critical lunar lander for Artemis 3, currently targeting late 2026. Program documents reveal that any delay in Starship's operational readiness creates cascading effects across the entire $93 billion Artemis budget. The data shows NASA requires demonstrated orbital recovery capability before committing to lunar mission integration, making Flight 11's Relight validation a decisive milestone for America's return to the Moon. The budget implications are equally strategic. SpaceX's internal cost analysis indicates successful Relight validation could reduce per-mission operational costs by 80% compared to expendable launch systems. For context, that's a cost reduction from approximately $90 million per mission to under $20 million, a breakthrough that fundamentally alters the economics of heavy lift operations. Industry sources confirm this cost advantage represents competitive pressure that Boeing and Blue Origin simply cannot match with their current expendable architectures. Reports reveal version 3's operational threshold depends entirely on Monday's validation data. If Flight 11 confirms reliable Raptor Relight capability, SpaceX maintains its systematic development timeline with high confidence for orbital recovery within 6 months. Program analysis shows this systematic approach, validating each critical capability before integration, mirrors Apollo's successful methodology from 1968 to 1969. The data confirms SpaceX is following proven engineering practices while maintaining unprecedented development velocity. According to industry assessments, this represents the most strategically significant Starship test to date. The operational implications extend beyond SpaceX to the entire U.S. space program's competitive position against China's documented lunar ambitions. Monday's test results will determine whether America maintains its strategic advantage in heavy lift reusability, a capability that could define space access economics for the next decade.